Alright, I'm going to take a look at Coder J's project. I have forked the repository. Let's go ahead and clone it. Flatiron, new project, put in Sinatra. Cool. Alright, let's open up in Visual Studio. Bin, boxing schedules, perfect. Alright, just like we thought. So this is running the CLI, creating a new instance, running the start method. Start. So that matches up. Push 1, fight details, scheduled fight details. That is up here. This is running the scraper, the scrape method, joining it all, getting rid of the new lines, splitting it, iterating it over each one, and putting out fight. Alright, so let's put a pry right here. Run this again. Run that method. Here is the pry. Alright, I want to see, what are we doing? What is this? This is a bunch of Nokogiri. Okay? And when we join it, that looks a little better. So then we're going to globally substitute all the new lines for spaces. Let's do that. Wow. Yep. Okay. And now it's one big string, I believe. I mean, it kind of has to be if we're doing a G-sub. The join turned it into a string, but yep. So we have a string. And if we split this, we have all of this. That makes sense. Okay? So, in my opinion, I want my scraper to return to me usable data. I don't want to have to parse it here in my CLI. I don't know if that's best practice or not, but I want to go to the scraper, I think, and look at how we can get usable data here right away. I don't have to do a bunch of stuff to it. Alright, so let's go look into the scraper. Scrape scheduled fights. That's the first one. Cool. Alright, opening the URL. Got it. Boxing page CSS, div schedules. Okay, so we're going to iterate over all these schedules. Okay, so we're actually creating an object called fight. So we're instantiating a new fight object. We're filling all this information. So let's look at fight. Alright, so all the fights, cool. Add our accessor. Okay. So we have this fight object, and it looks like it has all the information we care about. So why is our CLI calling out to the scraper? It seems like Let me just see something real quick. We don't have anything saved because we're not running the save method by default. Okay. That's fine. It seems like if we were to save these as the scraper was creating them, then our CLI could just call out to, you know, the fight. What do we have up here? Dot fight details, and just have that information. And so in the CLI, instead of putting out this, we could just do that here. Right? And just puts that out, and it, well, I mean, yeah. Okay, well, let's look at it a little more. Alright, so I want to know, what is this? So let's put up right here. And let's take this one out. Run this again. It should call out to the scraper. Excellent. So I want to know, what is this page CSS? It's a whole bunch of Nokogiri. That's good. How much is here? 1? There's only one thing. So what are we collecting? What are we iterating over? Just one thing, it looks like. Okay. Alright. So really we're just doing one iteration where we get the div's schedules, we instantiate a new fight object, and then we fill in all that fight's information. And then we return all of this to our CLI, and then we join it, substitute, split, iterate, and put out each of those elements. Okay. So what about this? What if we we instantiate the fight first, and it doesn't seem like we really need to iterate over anything. There's only one thing to go over. We'll keep this alone. So boxing schedule content, page CSS div schedules. That's fine. And I'm going to do just one of these here. Let's do time. So instead of content, we will do boxing schedule. Ha. Okay. That's a typo. I make those all the time too. Oops. So this is, wait. Yeah, that's schedule. All right, so we don't need this end. And then we should be able to just return fight. So what I think is going to happen is my prize is going to run first. I think we're going to instantiate a new fight. And then we're going to, and it's called fight. And we're going to fill in the fight time with this information. So then my CLI should only receive that by itself. Let me just see what happens there. One. Okay, so there's a problem. Undefined method join. There's nothing to join. Let's go ahead and comment that out. And we'll comment this out. And so really we have we are going to call to the scraper, scrape scheduled fights, and return a fight. We're going to need all the fights eventually, but for right now, I'm going to return one fight. And then I want to go ahead and put out the fight information. Let me just see what I get out of this. Fight. So I'm getting a fight object. Okay? And if I do fight time, oops, I'm still in the CLI. Run it again. Okay, so I'm getting a bunch of, I'll get the HTML. Cool. Not a problem. So let's go ahead and move this pry to right here and run this again. Exit, start, 1. Alright, so let's see, what is this giving me? Looks like it was a bunch of HTML. Yeah. There's a bunch of HTML. Well, it's Nokogiri, right? There's 21 things. That's not too bad. Let's look at the first thing. What is this? Hey, I can work with this. Let's grab the text, because that looks good. And I can do children and subchildren. I think maybe I can just grab the text of that first element. Yeah. I can work with that. Alright, it's a little sloppy, so let's... If I split it, it should automatically take out the new lines and the spaces. And now it's an array of just the words. So let's join that. Oh, yeah. Let's join it with some spaces back in there. Yeah, that looks good to me. So I want this. To replace from here, it looks like. Cool. Alright, let's comment this out. Go back into the terminal. Exit. Exit again. Rerun. 1. Pry. Oh, I didn't save. Yeah. It is helpful to save your changes. Run it again. 1. Thursday, January 23rd. Yeah, that looks good to me. So I could do this for each of these items, right? Go through and actually dig into the Nokogiri a little bit. Grab the text, split, join it, whatever needs to happen. Save the details to the fight. Return that fight here. And then I could, in my CLI, I could put out each individual fight related content, right? So the fight details, fighter names, channel location, fight time, fight URL, whatever. So that the scraper then is scraping and creating fight objects. And I think that what makes the most sense to me is after we create all the fight objects here in this method, let's go ahead and save them. So let's look at that. So if I do fight.save, I should have a fight instance I can work with. Let's check that out real quick. Run this. Oop. Method fight time. Okay. This is from the CLI. I think it's because I am now returning this fight.save. I mean, that's not what I want to end up doing, but let me just see what we have going on. All right. So at this point, I expect... Let me just see if I can call fight. Invalid. Oh, I'm not in my pry anymore. That makes sense. Let's go into the pry. I'll put it here. So I want to run this scraping method. All right. Yeah, name spacing, that's important. Okay. So I have a fight, and it has a fight time. So that seems like it should work to me. So instead of this, we would and we wouldn't do this either. So instead, we should be able to do fight.all each do fight puts, you know, fight.fight time. Oh, and all right, let's see if I know what I'm doing. Nope. If I have method fight, oh, fight.fight.time, this should be an underscore. Okay. Try again. Thursday. Yep. So that worked just fine. Now what I'm not sure about, so this is 0, but it seemed like there were multiple fights happening. So let's look at that again. We're looking at this again. right? There were 21 things here. I looked at the first one to get this. If we do this, that's the first fight. If I change this to a 1, that's in the second fight. And just to a 2. Okay. Are there 21 of them? Let's see. Nope. So we don't want to go to 21. Probably 20. Yeah. Nokogiri usually returns something at the end. So we could use this same format for all of these. So maybe we do want to use an each. Ah, that's right. That's better. So I should then maybe I got a little too hasty. And then maybe we don't need this. Let's try that. So this is every single fight. Alright, so looks like it. Let's put them all in one, which isn't what I want to do. Because my expectation is that at this time I should have 20 fights created from this scraper. No. I'm overriding them each. So let's save the fight after we fill in the details, right? So we would go through each of these blocks, fill in all this information. At the end of that iteration, save it. I don't need to return any data here. And then, so we'll save them all as we create them, and the CLI will then go through each one and get the information. Right now, we're only getting fight time. Let's see if that works. So it is still all being put out in one big string. Alright, well, let's pry. I already have a pry down here. Let's just use this one. I'll put it before all the puts. Exit. Rerun. Alright, I want to know I know why. I need to move this back down. Man. I changed too much too fast, I guess. So yes, we're going to iterate over each one, create a new fight, fill in the content, and save it. Pretty much exactly how this was in the first place. So I think I did a whole lot of work, and the only real change I made was putting this at the end here. I think if we add this to all of these, it'll be default. It'll be the right information, split and joined into the right strings, and then I added this save feature so that the CLI can just iterate over all the fights collected in our fight class. So if this works, I think that will probably be enough. It did not change anything. I'm surprised. New. Save. All right, well, let's try again. So we are still just, we're adding to this each time. Why is that happening? Self. Yeah, that didn't make a difference. I'm not sure why I thought it would. Well, I'm missing something. Something probably pretty basic. Maybe I need to open up my old project and see what I did differently. Because in my head, this seems right. I mean, we don't need this, actually. I think it's because the schedules is still only one thing, right? Yeah, this is just one thing. So this is not right. Exupt. Alright. So instead of doing an each over all of this, what we need is a little iterator for this. So that, you know, instead of doing 0 and having to repeat this over and over again, this can be I or X or whatever. So we want to do a loop. 20 times. Right? So let's set I equal to 0. And while I is less than 21, do. So we will need a thing here. I'm just going to call it content for now. This n matches up with my while just fine. Alright, so I need to equals 1. Alright, so now I'm going to create a new fight. Grab the ith block, get the text, split it, and join it. That's going to be put into fight time. The fight will be saved. And then we'll do it again. Alright, let's try that. Ah, look at that. All these fights. That's beautiful right there. Ah, 20 times. No thank you. Is it bang? Yeah. Alright. Let's go back into the CLI. Take out that pry. So here is the time for each fight. The one thing I didn't verify was how many fights we got. I expected to get 20, but I have made so many expectations that I was wrong about. Let me just verify this. I have 21. Well, let's look at the 21st fight object. It's nil. Is that because I did it wrong or because there's nothing there? So 20 has something, but 21 does not. I don't like having a nil object in here, so let's change this to less than 20. And then we will recheck this again. Ha. All right. Size. Now there's 20. And if I grab the 20th, because the size counts 0. So now we only have 19. I think that was just a space on my part. Oops. Wow. Let's really exit this, please. So no, this scraper was fine at 21. Don't need to do this. All right, let me run it one more time. Dang, stupid prize everywhere, man. There we go. All right, so hopefully this is enough. There's probably too much. You probably just need to watch the last few minutes. But hopefully it makes sense what I've done, and you can see the process I used to figure this out. But the main takeaway is you should be able to probably do this on the end of each of these. and then it should automatically then fill that information in for each instance of your fight class. And then your CLI, you can just put out each of those things that you want to put out. And you can, put it out in whatever way looks best to you. I think that's really it. Hit me up on Slack if you have any questions.